What's poppin', y'all? It's your boy PB the Plug, 1/4 through the wire, #1 Knicks fan in the world, aka Mr. Know-It-All, and I'm back with another video, and it's thanks to y'all. I won't lie, this is not a video I was planning on creating, but I got hit up by so many people on social media asking me, P, we need the bracket video. We need you to do a bracket video. We got to see the information and the knowledge that you have so you can help us out with our teams and our brackets or whatever. So please help us out and let us know what's popping and who you got and everything like that. But before we even dive into it, I do want to put a disclaimer out here. I'm not the bracket expert. I know at Through the Wire we do talk NBA talk, and I am the college expert on Through the Wire, but I don't believe that a bracket expert exists. I'm just throw it out there. I do not believe that there's anybody that can literally tell us that they for sure are picking this team because of that. I have knowledge and information that can help you with your choices and picks, especially if you're going to be betting, especially if you're going to be doing that. But I cannot guarantee anything here, and I do not want to lead y'all to believe that I have any, guarantees or anything like that. But what we're going to be doing, I'm going to be filling out my bracket in front of y'all. I have my iPad. I will be screen recording, and I'll put it on the screen over here somewhere, and y'all will be able to go through the entire bracket with me from the west to the east to the south to the Midwest, all the way down to the Final Four and then the champions. Shout out to technology. I remember back in my day when I first was getting into college basketball and March Madness and things like that, I used to have to go to my mom's printer or at the library, wherever, and I would have to print out like 30 to 50 brackets and then just keep filling them out. And if I would mess one up, I would try to, guess like 1,000 times to just try to have one accurate. And I remember in school it was a big thing too. I think like maybe my teacher, because it's like first, second grade, third grade or something, I think my teacher would give everybody a bracket and then will laminate them. And that was like your bracket. You had to live with the choices that you made with that bracket. So March Madness has always been a part of my life and one of my favorite times of the year. And then right around the corner is baseball with spring training. But I'm going to get this screen recording going, and boom, here we are. So out west, we have Gonzaga as the #1 seed. Obviously, when we go through this bracket, because I'm doing it on a Wednesday, the play-in games haven't happened yet, but I still have my choices and where I'm going to go before that even happens. So I'm out here living on the super edge, because I'm gonna have some choices and some decisions that I'm going to make that aren't even like the team isn't even in yet. But what I will say is this one is a no-brainer. No matter what happens tomorrow in this Appalachian State play-in game, whatever, Gonzaga will win. You know what I mean? I'm taking Gonzaga without a doubt, so we can fly through that one. I'm gonna try to give y'all information and go through this, but I'm also try to make sure I don't prolong and make this a 40 to 50 minute video. We're gonna really fly through this, especially in the early stages, to get y'all to where the meat and potatoes is, so to speak. So now the next one, and this is always a tough one for me every single year. The 8-9 matchup is like neck and neck. It gets no tighter. When you're filling out your bracket, it's always one of the toughest decisions to make, because both of these teams, like right now we have Oklahoma and Missouri, they're neck and neck. I mean, throughout the season, I view both of these teams is almost equal. I'm really making my decision on this based on how Missouri closed out the year. I was a big Missouri fan. They have a Chicago guy, Xavier Pinson, on that team. I'm also a big fan of their big man Tillman, because he came in with Michael Porter Jr., if I'm not mistaken. And I like Conzo Martin. Hopefully I'm saying, I can never get that first name right, but I like their head coach a lot. But if I'm not mistaken, the last 9 games before tournament play, before entering into the NCAA tournament, they're like 3-6. I want to say they've been very rocky. Very inconsistent. They had some losses that kind of made me scratch my head, because I was betting on them, because like I said, I was a big fan of Missouri and the momentum that they had during a part of the season. But then they kind of fell off and they became super inconsistent. I didn't know what team I was going to watch whenever I was tuning in to see them play. And they had some losses that kind of left me confused. Now Oklahoma has some losses as well, especially to like a talented team like Oklahoma State, which you would want to see Oklahoma beat Oklahoma State, because on paper they're better. But Cade Cunningham, is the best player and did give them 40. So I mean, it's hard. What could they do? So I am going to go with Oklahoma though. I'm going to put my money on Austin Reeves to continue to lead Oklahoma and make all of the right decisions and continue to score for them and lead them into the second round over Missouri. I hope that Missouri doesn't all of a sudden turn up and become that team that I was once betting on a month or so ago and decides to crush Oklahoma. But I think that's going to be a very even game, and it literally can go either way. I'm literally making my decision because I don't like how Missouri ended the season, and that may be who they turned out to be. The team that we saw that went 3-6 in the last 9 may be just who Missouri is. So the next one is one that I've been wanting to get to. We got UC Santa Barbara versus Creighton. This is going to be my first upset, and I have a couple of reasons why. If you know anything about college basketball this year, then you know Creighton. Even if you don't know much about college basketball, Creighton has been in the headlines because of what Coach McDermott said using the word plantation. I don't know what was going on in his brain. The stupidest shit I've heard in a very long time. Nobody even uses that word plantation. That's just not even a word that people just loosely say. So I don't even know how whatever. It's over and done with. But that's not why I have them losing. The thing about Creighton is with a lot of teams in this tournament, you will see when you live by the 3, you die by it, right? And they're going to shoot the 3 well. They have the Mark Z point guard, number 11. He can shoot crazy. I think he shoots over 40% from the 3. And I think they may have another guy who shoots 40% from 3. So they can really shoot it. But they lost to Georgetown in their conference tournament. And it may have been, I think it was actually a championship game, if I'm not mistaken. They lost that game by 25 points because they went 9 of 34 from 3. And what UC Santa Barbara does is they defend the 3-point line better than almost any team in this tournament. I think they're like 15th and 3-pointers allowed, right? So if you have a team that is like Creighton, who is living and dying by the 3, and they're matching up with a team who is legitimately stressing about not giving up 3s, and then UC Santa Barbara also has a guard that I love, that can control the game for them, and I think guard play is going to be a very essential thing in tournament time. I think they can win this one. I think McLaughlin and UC Santa Barbara. I actually got some notes written down right here. Yeah, McLaughlin is averaging 16 and 5. He's shooting 40% from 3. He's 84% from the free throw line, which that's the type of guard that you want. He can make good decisions. He can make shots, and then when it comes down to closing out the game, he's going to make free throws, and you have a guy legitimately that you could put on the line. And like I said, they're going to run Creighton off the line. You know what I mean? Like and then the number one thing that I have written down here is that UC Santa Barbara, they force more turnovers than they give up. I think they only give up around 15 to 16 turnovers per game, but they force around 20 to 21. So they're making you turn the ball over more than they're turning the ball over. And if anybody knows college basketball, come tournament time or any basketball, protecting the basketball is a big thing. You know, when you're having limited chances and attempts, because half-court basketball is now more important than a regular season game. So that's my first upset. UC Santa Barbara, I have them. I just believe in that recipe. Like I said, Jakari McLaughlin, I hope I'm pronouncing that first name right. 16-5. He's giving you what, 40-something% from the field, 40% from 3, 80+% from the free throw line. They're running you off the 3. They're limiting your attempts from 3, and then they're going to protect the ball and make you give up the ball. That's a recipe for disaster for a team like Creighton, who isn't like a juggernaut. You know, Creighton is a solid team, but I don't look at them as an upper echelon team, and that's why Georgetown was able to beat them in a championship game by 25+, because Georgetown arguably isn't as good as UC Santa Barbara, you know, but they were able to take away the 3. They were able to protect the basketball, and they won the game. And if UC Santa Barbara can do the same thing, and I know that they're watching that film from Georgetown, because that was just last week. I know they're watching that, and their coach is telling them the same thing. If we do the same things, we can have the same result. It's not a game that Georgetown barely won or luckily won. They beat them by 25 points. Enough said. My next game We have Virginia versus Ohio. Again, back-to-back upsets. I'm going with Ohio. Why? Because Ohio has great point guard play. I know a lot of y'all know Jason Preston had an incredible game against Illinois early in the season, which was able to allow him to, what do they call, springboard onto the scene. And then everybody was able to get a glimpse of exactly how talented that kid is. He's giving you, what, like 17, 7, and 7. He's also a 40+% shooter. They have another 40+% shooter from 3. I like the big that they have, Vanderplas. He can stretch and stretch the floor, and that's what gave Illinois a lot of trouble. So I'm assuming they do the same thing, because also Virginia gives up a lot of threes. Virginia doesn't force turnovers. They give up threes. They do rebound the ball well. I think I have some other notes for Virginia. What did I write down for Virginia? Oh yeah, that's basically it. You know, Ohio, they shoot around 36.5% from 3 as a team. They have a couple of guys, like I said, shooting 40+% from 3, and Virginia is going to give you threes. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, they're giving you threes. That's always been something that they did, though. Something that I read about them today or one of these days is that they've had a history of giving up threes, except they've had better talent. So even when they gave you the threes, they were highly contested, because you have DeAndre Hunter, you had Kyle Guy and Ty Jerome and those talented teams. But this year, they're playing that same type of basketball, but they don't have that same talent that's contesting those threes. So guys are, teams are making a lot more threes. I think over the one of the higher ranked teams Virginia had, they were holding opponents to like below 30% from 3, like 28. Now they're giving up like 35%. And like I said, Ohio as a team shoots 36%. So the statistics tell us that Ohio is going to, unless Ohio just has the worst shooting game of the season, they have a pretty good chance of winning this. And like I said, I think they're probably going to have the best player on the floor with Jason Preston, and I love his pace of play. He never is rattled. You can't speed him up. He has size. They have a good pick and roll with him and Vanderplas. So I like Ohio to win that, and that's 2 back-to-back upsets already. And these are ones that I'm high on. Ohio, I have a tweet from like a week and a half ago where somebody asked me, who do I think is going to win a championship? I didn't know. I don't know. But one thing I guaranteed, or I felt confident enough to say more than who would win it, was that Ohio was going to have an upset. And there's another team that I damn near want to guarantee it with. We'll get there. Now here's a part where we'll speed it up a little bit. No matter between Wichita State or Drake, I have Wichita State winning that game because Drake has some injuries to 2 of their starters. One may play, the other one is definitely not playing. But either or, being down a starter against a strong Wichita State team, I have to give Wichita State the edge. But no matter what, I think USC is going to win that game. USC rebounds the ball very, very well in the offensive glass. They have Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley. Shout out to KJ from Last Chance U. I know y'all tuning in that. He plays for USC, if you didn't know. So I'm rocking with USC on that one. Pretty much straightforward. I think USC is going to rebound the ball well. That, especially on the offensive glass, they have too much size for like a Wichita State or a Drake. And they're a better team. Kind of the same thing with Kansas. I know East Washington was a team that people like. They do 5 out, whatnot. But they don't rebound the ball that well, especially on the offensive glass. Like, they just don't rebound well, and I think Kansas is just going to have too much size. And I won't lie, the 5 out can be a problem. They can give Kansas some problem with the 5 out offense that they do. But this is an experienced Kansas team. They've played their best basketball towards the second half of the season, and I think they're going to handle business and do what they have to do for sure. I got Kansas rolling with that one. In the next game, we have Oregon versus VCU. I like Oregon. Oregon is a solid team, but I have to say again, we have another upset alert because VCU and Bones Highland are going to come in and do what they have to do. I think Bones Highland is going to have one of those games where a lot of people who don't know who he is right now is going to be like, wow, I like him. It's a lot on the line right now. If he can explode and have one of those games and catapult VCU over Oregon, it can put him higher in that draft board, which is coming next. We have March Madness, then we have, a lot of these guys in this tournament getting ready for the draft. And as much as I like Oregon, they've had some disappointing games where I think VCU can legitimately be just as good as them on any given night and be better. And I think that that's what's going to happen. Oregon has been very inconsistent. They look like one of the best teams out of the Pac-12. Then they look like one of the worst, or they lose to a team that you just like, how, who, and why did you lose that game? And because of those inconsistencies, I think VCU will be the better team and win that game. The next game is very simple. Iowa. I mean, Iowa's going to do what they do. You know, no disrespect to Grand Canyon, but if I'm not mistaken, I heard that Grand Canyon, they turn the ball over on like 20% of their possessions. You're not going to beat a team like Iowa if you can't protect the basketball. You know what I mean? You're just not. It just comes down to that. You're not going to be able to do it. And with that game, we conclude the West region of our bracket, and we're going to start moving down to the East. And the first seed that we have out East is my boy Mikey, Mike Smith in Michigan, the Michigan Wolverines. Just like Gonzaga, the play-in game, whoever, Texas Southern, whoever they're going to play, Mount St., St. Mary, whatever, it doesn't matter. I got Michigan going. Like I said, they're down Livers, who was a 13-point scorer for them. They had him, Dickerson, they had Smith, obviously Wagner and whatnot. It's going to play a part down the line in the bracket, missing Livers, but right now I think they still are a good enough team to take care of business in that first round. And we saw that in the Big Ten tourney. They was able to hold it down and stay solid. They didn't win it all in the Big Ten tournament, but they were able to still be a solid team. LSU versus St. Bonaventure, like earlier in the West region with Missouri and Oklahoma, another tough 8-9 matchup. As much as I like St. Bonaventure, and as good as a basketball team they've been all year, they've been a very, very good basketball team. They surprised me a lot because I was a doubter of them a couple times, and they turned me into a believer. But I just believe LSU was just too loaded for them. LSU with Cam Thomas, Trendon Wofford, Javonte Smart. They have a lot. They have a lot to give you. They're coming out of the SEC, which they played a lot of high level competition. And like I said, Cam Thomas is averaging like 23 points a game. Trendon Wofford just had 30. Like they're both our first team all SEC players. Javonte Smart is like a second team all SEC. They just have a lot, and I think that's gonna overpower St. Bonaventure. I'm not saying it's gonna be a blowout. I think St. Bonaventure is gonna come to play. I believe St. Bonaventure is gonna come play with some pace, and they're gonna have some tempo. But I think LSU and their size and just all of the weapons that they have will give them the edge there. Colorado versus Georgetown. This is a very interesting one. I talked about Georgetown earlier when I was speaking on Creighton getting upset. Georgetown was on a run. They won the Big East tournament, which is how they got in here. And they had a nice run, and it was nice seeing Patrick Ewing in the guard winning and doing his thing with his nice young group of guys. But Colorado really has had a very underrated year this year. They don't have like a star, sexy player name that's like on draft boards or anything, but as a team, they shoot the ball really well from the free throw line. They execute, they score well, they defend well, and they don't really turn the ball over. So I'm going to go with Colorado. I just think that Colorado isn't a team like Creighton where you're just going to eliminate one thing and they're going to be dead in the water. I think they're well balanced. They're going to defend back, and like I said, they have upperclassmen and veterans, and I love their point guard play as well to make good decisions and make free throws at the end of the game. If it is tight, they're not going to give you the game and beat themselves. And I think, in tournament play, you have to look for things like that. Who are teams that can potentially beat themselves and just, like I pay attention to who's shooting free throws badly and who, because sometimes if you watch tournament games, it comes down to that. A team might be down 3 and they're playing a foul game, and this other team who's winning just can't close the game out. They can never give themselves enough free throw makes to give themselves like their breathing room, and then the other team hits a buzzer beating 3, and now we go into overtime, and the team had the momentum. That's how they tied the game, and next thing you know, they upset a team because they just couldn't make free throws down the stretch. And we've seen it so many times over so many years, so I gotta rock with Colorado. Not saying Georgetown is out of it, because if you talk about momentum going into the tournament, they're as hot as can be. They have had a break now because it's been a few days and it's almost been like a week since they've played, but they definitely have momentum and rolling as a team. Next game, Florida State versus UNC Greensboro. UNC Greensboro has had a very, very solid year, and if I may have picked them if they were playing against anybody else, or if they maybe were playing BYU, I maybe have picked them, but I can't pick them against Florida State. Leonard Hamilton is over there making Florida State into a powerhouse, in my opinion. When you talk about Jonathan Isaac, Devin Vassell, Patrick Williams, Scotty Barnes, like Florida State is a team and a program we need to start talking about. They're producing some talent over there, and once again, they have another great defensive team, very gritty. Scotty Barnes can do a lot of different things. Raquan Gray is a guy that I really like. He gives me some Draymond Green vibes a little bit, just a tad. So I'm rocking with Florida State, and I think we'll continue to see them throughout this bracket. BYU versus MSU/UCLA. This is what I was referring to earlier in the episode. Obviously this game hasn't been played yet, but I'm going to take Michigan State University. And not only am I taking them to win versus UCLA, but I'm also going to pick them to beat BYU. Tom Izzo is he's just a guy that he's ready for tournament play. Michigan State started off the year not so good. They've had some low moments. It's not one of their better years, but they're here now. And now that they're here, they're kind of like the San Antonio Spurs. Like, me and my dad talk about all the time. Tom Izzo, when he's recruiting kids, he can damn near guarantee you that you're going to play in the Final Four if you stay all 4 years. Like Tom Izzo gets it done in the tournament. I'm expecting them to beat UCLA because they're just a better team, and then I'm expecting them to also be able to beat BYU. Shout out to my guy Rocket Watts too. But no, Michigan State is an experienced team. They have some isolation that they run, and they're primed for this. They're a Big Ten team. And I think that they're going to come in and try to bully BYU and beat them. But BYU won't be a slight. BYU will come into play and can have a chance to win, especially if that 3 ball is falling. Texas, versus the AB, Bill Christian. I don't even know this school. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to just go Texas without a doubt. I think Texas is one of the most underrated teams in the tournament overall. The next game, we have UConn and Maryland. Again, I'm going Maryland. I'm going UConn. I'm going UConn. Maryland can turn it up anytime they want with Aaron Wiggins, and they can do some things. And I'm gonna go with UConn. I like their guard play. James Bouknight, he's gonna do his thing. UConn has been solid and steady all year, except when Bouknight went down. Obviously, that impacts them a lot. But I'm rocking with UConn. And then last but not least, at the bottom, you got to go Alabama. Shout out to John Petty. Guy that came in there when they got the young bull. That got Javon Cornelius. Kyra Lewis just left and went to the league. I like Alabama and what Nate Oates is doing over there. But now we're going to take it to the South region and get this thing going. Baylor. It's not Baylor. We're just going to start speeding up stuff that just doesn't need an explanation. Baylor. North Carolina versus Wisconsin. I personally think North Carolina is a lot better than what they've been advertised to be. They're like a lot of teams in here. They've lost some games that make you say, like, damn, what the hell? But I think they got their stuff together at the right time of the year, and they've been rolling and showing that they are a very good basketball team. They got a lot of depth too. So I like North Carolina, and I think they could potentially make a run in this tournament. This is the other team I was speaking about. When I said my tweet about Ohio damn near being able to guarantee that they will upset their team, Winthrop. I think Winthrop is a team that is going to come and play and hoop, and they going to show their asses, as my boy Kyron would say. I got Winthrop beating Villanova. Villanova's in a vulnerable situation. They don't have their senior guard, Colin Gillespie. That makes it tough. But then even without that being said, Winthrop is one of the best teams in this tournament. They've only lost once. They're practically a 12 seed just because they didn't have as tough of a schedule as a lot of other teams, and they're not that respected. But when you look at the pace of play that they play with, I believe they play with like 11 guys, so they have depth. Y'all know I love big guards. They have a 6'7" point guard. They have a big man who gets down there. They have a nice pick and roll game. They shoot threes. They got a lot of lefties, a lot of pretty strokes. I'm rocking with Winthrop. This is one of my teams that I'm really going hard with in this tournament. You will see. But let's continue to go before I waste too much time talking about a team that I'm gonna continue to talk about. For this next one, Purdue versus North Texas. I'm definitely gonna go with North Texas. Just kidding. I'm going Purdue. I know Purdue fans like, damn, what the hell is going on? But no, I'm gonna go Purdue. North Texas has had some moments. And I've actually seen a couple of games from them, and they were a solid, great team, and they did what they had to do. And they've been, like I said, they've been solid. And I think they actually might have won a bet for me, but I definitely have to go with Purdue. Purdue is a very big and strong team. They just have a lot of size, so I got to go with Purdue over North Texas in that one. Texas Tech versus Utah State is going to be a tough one. I like Texas Tech. They've shown me some things with Mac McClung and Terrence Shannon, but Utah State, I mean, their big man is just a dog. I'm talking about a dude that's going to, he can damn near get 10 blocks in a game. He's going to give you, 17 and 12. And yeah, he's going to really just control the paint. And I feel like that may be enough to change the game. And I'm going to go with Utah State with that one. Like, they're big. I can't pronounce his name. It's like he's been around for a while. He played with Sam Morrell when he was there, if y'all know who Sam Morrell is. But yeah, it's like Queta. I can't pronounce it. But if you know college basketball, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And I'm going to make sure that I learn how to pronounce that young man's name when I watch them play in a tournament, because I'm sure I'm going to hear it a lot during that game, because I got to put some respect in his name. He can hoop, and I think he can control the game enough for them that they can edge Texas Tech. It's as good as Texas Tech can be. They've had some moments that makes them a lot questionable to me. Now in this next game, Arkansas versus Colgate, a lot of people like Colgate. I've seen a lot of people picking Colgate, but I can't. I mean, Arkansas with Moses Moody, there's no way I'm picking Colgate in that one. I just can't. I think Arkansas is a better team. I think they're going to have the best player on the floor in Moses Moody. And Arkansas is a team that I also think can make a run in this tournament. They're just positioned in a nice place where they can legitimately make a run. So I got to take Arkansas with that one. Shout out to Colgate, though. Because they are a solid team, but they just got the short end of the stick being matched up with Arkansas in the first round. Florida versus Virginia Tech, I think this was a no-brainer for me. I got to take Florida. I'm hoping Florida doesn't let up and allow Virginia Tech to come in and make me regret saying that. But I think no question that Florida is better than Virginia Tech. They're just a better basketball team. Trey Mann, and I think they will be even better because you know what happened to Keontae Johnson early in the season. He was their go-to guy and their top player. So even without him, they're doing a thing. Scotty Lewis, Trey Mann. So yeah, I got to go with Florida. Virginia Tech, I'm kind of surprised they even got in the tournament. Another ACC team, but I'm taking Florida for sure. Now this one right here, this is one that I dwelled on for a while. When I was filling out my bracket a couple times earlier, I was just picking Ohio State, no doubt. But then when I kept looking into it, I got to take Oral Roberts. I have to go with Oral Roberts. I mean, they have such a nice pick and roll game, partly due because they have the top scorer in the nation. But they shoot the three ball so well that I just don't think that they're ever going to be out of a game. And man, I really think that Oral Roberts can beat Ohio State. And if you hit this little button, if you use this app right here, this will tell you some information. And when you scroll down, you read some of the things about Oral Roberts. No one hits more threes than the Summit League champs. Like I was just saying, they shoot three ball real well. Thanks to the nation's leading regular season scorer, Max Abmas. I thought it was Abmas, but I guess I was wrong. And shout out to League Him. Go to League Him's YouTube. Go to League Him Instagram page. He put me on to Max a while ago. He's on it. So make sure y'all tuning in to League Him, because he would have you on some of these dudes that you're going to be seeing. He would have had y'all on him. These players months ago. These mid-major players are playing for these lower tier teams. He focuses on those guys and gives those guys looks and things like that to keep you in tune. So follow him. But yeah, then they have the Kevin O'Banner. That's the big man I was talking about. They have a nice pick and roll game. This other stuff I don't even know about. I'm not even gonna pretend to know. Like I sit around watching Oral Roberts, but it says Oral Roberts brand of fast-paced small ball. Well, I know that has been resulted in being one of the most aggressive teams in the tournament, pushing the pace offensively and forcing turnovers defensively. The Golden Eagles are red hot at the right time, and it takes one big scoring run to give them a chance against any opponent. Now, defensively, I can't speak on. Like I said, I haven't watched that many Oral Roberts games, or just done my homework that much on Oral Roberts to speak on them defensively. But I do know about them offensively, and that's all I'm gonna go with. I think that's all they need. That's all I need to know. They shoot the three as good as anybody in the tournament. They have the nation's leading scorer. He has a partner in crime in a pick and roll game, and that right there to me can just mess up any team. So I think Oral Roberts can beat Ohio State. Ohio State is talented as well, but I think they're gonna spread them out. They're gonna make a lot of threes. They got their guy who's going to get his. He has a partner in a pick and roll game who can also get his, and I think they're gonna upset and catch Ohio State lacking. Remember, if it happens, where you heard it first. Now, don't get me wrong. Ohio State is a talented team. Like I said, they can come out and crush them, if they do everything that they need to do. But I'm taking Oral Roberts without a doubt. And now we can get to the Midwest region. And I know a lot of people gonna be like, damn, P, I like Ohio State. That's my team. Just remember. Okay. The last but not least side of the bracket, the Midwest region. Excuse me, I'm getting a little tired. This is taking a lot more time than I thought it would. I thought I was going to fly through this in 20 minutes, but no. But anyway, Illinois versus Drexel. Don't have much to say there. We rocking with Illinois for obvious reasons. Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech. As much as I want to take Loyola Chicago because I am Chicago and it would be nice to watch Illinois versus Loyola, I cannot pick them over Georgia Tech and Moses Wright. I just think Moses Wright is going to be too much for them to handle. Loyola Chicago actually has a big man of their own. He was there when they had their run a few years ago. He's now, I think, a senior. Forget his name, but he's talented as well. But I think Moses Wright is really going to own the paint against Loyola Chicago, and that's why I'm going to give Georgia Tech the edge in this one. Tennessee versus Oregon State, kind of like Illinois versus Drexel. I'm taking Tennessee for obvious reasons. Shout out to Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer. Oklahoma State versus Liberty. Cade Cunningham has shown me that he can do a lot of good things versus some great teams, and they already are a better team than Liberty, so I'm going to give Oklahoma State the edge winning that one. San Diego State versus Syracuse. I'm going to go with my guy. Damn, what's his name? I forget my man's name for San Diego State, number 20. He played with Malachi Flynn last year on that really, really good San Diego State team. I love, him, and then it's one more guy that they have. My mind's going blank right now, and as soon as I get done with this video, it's going to pop in my head. Or somebody who's familiar with San Diego State is watching this video, and they're yelling at the screen like, his name is blah, blah, blah. Forget it. You know what? This is what we can do. I'm sure they'll have it on the game preview. Where's his name? Do they have the leading scores or... Jordan Schreckle. Jordan Schreckle, him and Malachi Flynn last year on San Diego State had me really think highly of San Diego State. I wish they would have got a chance to play in the tournament because I really liked that team last year. He's still there, even though Malachi Flynn went to the league. And I'm rocking with the way that they play. Syracuse is hit or miss. Boeheim's son can really shoot the ball, and they always have a chance with the defense that they play. But I'm going to take San Diego State in this one. West Virginia versus Morehead State. West Virginia for obvious reasons. Shout out to cousin Javon Carter. West Virginia, great right there. And then Clemson versus Rutgers. I'm taking Rutgers. I'm not much of a fan of Clemson. Clemson has not been that good to me. They've been they haven't been bad, but I'm taking Rutgers. I'm not convinced on Clemson. I've seen them play a couple times and they just didn't look that good to me. And then last but not least, Cleveland State. They did their thing to get to the tournament, but I do have to take Houston to go to the next round. So while we're still right here in the Midwest, we'll just go from the round of 32 into the Sweet 16. Rutgers, nice win over Clemson, but obviously Houston is going to take that one with Quentin Grimes and whatnot. West Virginia and San Diego State, that's a very good matchup, but defensively, West Virginia is going to come with it and make it tough for San Diego State. And then with their inside presence of Jared Culver, I got to rock with West Virginia there. So those are two quick, easy choices. Tennessee versus Oklahoma State is a nice one. This is going to be a very good game, probably one of the best games. You want to give Oklahoma State some love, obviously, because Cade plays there. But I think Tennessee is a very talented team, top to bottom. Bruce Pearl, this is what he does. He's a tournament coach. He always comes alive in the tournament. I'm sorry. Bruce Pearl is not even at Tennessee anymore. Bruce Pearl is all the way at fucking Auburn. I'm thinking of, what's my guy's name? He recruited KD from Texas. Man, Barnes, right? Isn't? Let me see. I gotta pull out my phone 1 second, y'all, to see Tennessee's head coach name. He used to coach at Texas, and he recruited Kevin Durant, but my mind's going blank right now. And of course, they showed me the football coach. Yeah, Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes. I'm sorry, Rick. I'm sorry, Mr. Barnes. He does his thing in tournament time too, though. But that just shows you that I've been doing this shit for a very long time. Bruce Pearl has not coached Tennessee in a very, very long time. But for some reason, my mind, I'm not getting old, but yikes. Tennessee, long story short, is a good team. They're a good, solid team. I like them a lot. I like Jaden Springer. I like Keon Johnson. I like the effort that they play with. I like Jans Pons. He's shot blocking and hitting threes and shit like that. But I'm going to rock with Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has given me plenty of reasons to believe in them to beat a team like Tennessee. Like I spoke about when I talked about Oklahoma, they've beaten them. They've beaten Baylor. I think there's one more team or a couple more teams that they've beaten that they probably wasn't supposed to beat, but Cade Cunningham and the rest of his team. They even had a very good win. I forget who was against without Cade. Cade was out because of safety protocol and whatever, and they still won. So I'm gonna take Oklahoma State with this. They've given me all the evidence that they should be the team that I take, and I'm not going to take that evidence and not use it and then regret it later. I do respect Tennessee and wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee did win that game, but I am going to take Oklahoma State in that matchup because they do have the best player on the floor, and they've shown me that they have what it takes to beat teams that are a little bit better than them. And the seeding tells me that Oklahoma State is actually a better team, but I think on paper I would rock with Tennessee over Oklahoma State, but I do think that Oklahoma State can win that and will. And then Illinois versus Georgia Tech, as much as I like Georgia Tech and Moses Wright, I just don't think that they would have enough to even come close to beating Illinois. Something drastic would have to happen, like Illinois would maybe have to like be shooting 22% from the field or something. You know, one of those crazy things that you can never see coming. But Illinois, team for team wise, is head and shoulders above Georgia Tech. So I think that is an easy one there. And now we have West Virginia, Houston in the Sweet 16 with Oklahoma State and Illinois. Florida and Oral Roberts. Again, if Oral Roberts are able to upset Ohio State by, you know, shooting a lot of threes, their go-to guys doing his thing, Max, I keep wanting to call him Abrams. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce it, but Max, the leading scorer. I don't think Florida would have enough to stop them either. If Ohio State couldn't, then I'm going to have to say that Florida probably won't be able to either. And then I think Oral Roberts will be able to take that momentum into the next game against Florida. Trey Mann can and when he wants to be, can be a great defender. Same with Scotty Lewis. But again, I don't think anybody is going to come in and stop what Oral Roberts is doing. You know what I mean? If they lose, they're literally going to have to stop themselves. Maybe not make shots. Maybe just not be able to guard anybody. But I don't think Florida is that overpowering of a team offensively. Neither do I think that of Ohio State. Don't get me wrong. Anybody at any time can get hot for their respective teams. But when I look at them as teams, I just don't think the offensive firepower is overpowering Oral Roberts at all. So I'm gonna continue to rock Oral Roberts, and I'm gonna let them be the Cinderella of my bracket. I could be totally wrong. Ohio State, and this is where I say I'm not an expert, because you can take my information to help use it, but I wouldn't say to copy me, because you look at my bracket, and if Ohio State take care of the business, I'm already kind of screwed because I have Oral Roberts being the Cinderella. But what I will say is you have to think about how the bracket operates. Every year there's a few Cinderellas that we just never saw happening. So you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people that say, man, this is maybe the year where all the higher seeds are going to event. I don't know. You know what I mean? I've done that route before, and that backlash. There was already a lot of upsets during conference tournaments and things like that. This has just been a crazy upset year. If you look at college basketball thus far, we've had upsets on upsets all year long. So I don't see why it would stop now all of a sudden in the tournament. And I think Oral Roberts has the recipe to be a Cinderella team. So I'm gonna rock with him. Utah State versus Arkansas. Again, Utah State's big man is probably going to be dominant versus Arkansas, but I don't think it's going to be enough because Arkansas, to me, is just a better team. And I'm going to have them going to the Sweet 16 behind Moses Moody. You know what I mean? They have stretch bigs. Can't remember his name. He's the tall white guy, could shoot it and step out. That would make Utah State's big man have to follow him and be less effective in the paint defensively with his block shots and things like that. I think Arkansas is a better basketball team than people have given them credit for in the national media. Up top now, when we get to the South, or no, not the South. We're in the South. When we get to Purdue and Winthrop, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I got Winthrop, man. I really believe in how Winthrop plays. Winthrop is not a 12 seed to me. Winthrop has lost one game all year, and again, they're 12th because their strength of schedule and their conference isn't as prestigious as these other teams. But I think Winthrop can really hoop. I think Winthrop can really hoop. I love the pace that they play at. I love the size that they have. Like, I think Winthrop is a legit team. And right here up top, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This is not just for to be doing some shit, but I'm not really sold on Baylor. There's something about Baylor that just doesn't have me looking at them like I look at a lot of the teams. I like, they're a good team for sure, but I don't know if Baylor is a great team. Like, Gonzaga is great. You know what I mean? I don't know if Baylor is on a level of a Gonzaga. I don't know if they're on a level of Illinois. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like the same thing with Michigan. But Michigan is down a man, so I can see why I don't look at Michigan the way that I used to. But like, Baylor they're not that dominant team that I just fear for other teams. Like, when Oklahoma State beat them, I picked Oklahoma State in my bet. I put a whole parlay together, and I had Oklahoma State winning because I just don't think Baylor is like that. And sure enough, they won. And there's just no reason Baylor should be losing in a conference tournament against Oklahoma State. Talent for talent, they're older, they've been there, they have just more talent. Cade Cunningham is the best player on the floor, but it isn't like he gave them 40 like he did Oklahoma or anything. You know what I mean? They just, I don't know. I'm taking North Carolina, man. I'm taking North Carolina. The North Carolina is rolling at the right time. Deron Sharp and Armando Bacot in the middle. Kessler coming in and doing his thing. Caleb Love, Leaky Black. They have a lot going on in North Carolina. And like I said, with them rolling at the right time and the depth that they have and the vulnerability that Baylor shows at times, I wouldn't be surprised if North Carolina was able to use their size to be able to get by Baylor. To make it to the Sweet 16. Now on the other side, we're going to start off out west and drop down to the east before we start getting to the Elite 8 and Final 4. Gonzaga of Oklahoma. Gonzaga is just like that team that's just like, I'm going to probably just spend 5 seconds with them every time I pick them. UC Santa Barbara versus Ohio. We got two underdogs matching each other after upsetting Virginia and Creighton. As much as I like Ohio and as much as I like Preston and Vanderplas, I think UC Santa Barbara can do the same exact things they did to Creighton to Ohio. You know what I mean? Ohio's a team that likes to shoot threes, kind of like Creighton. Not as much as Creighton. They're not as one-dimensional as Creighton. But if they're taking that away, that's a significant strength of them. And like I said, UC Santa Barbara, they're emphasizing taking away the three, and they're making sure that you're not even getting a lot of attempts. And then when you are getting attempts, they're trying to make sure that you're not even shooting them that well. So if they're limiting your attempts and they're limiting your success, that's a big portion of your game, especially if you're a team like Ohio that shoots a three as much as they do. And just Jason Preston, as good as he is, he's not a guy that's, he's not a guy that's going to get you 30 or 40 without being able to shoot the three. You know what I mean? Like his game against Illinois, he was able to shoot the ball well. He's a 17-point scorer and he's shooting 40% from three. I'm not saying he's going to have a bad game, but I don't know if he's giving you X amount of points without being. And I don't think Ohio can beat you or can keep up with a team if they can't shoot three. So I'm gonna go UC Santa Barbara on that one as well, and I think that's gonna be a good game. But I can definitely see that 3-point line, coming in and affecting Ohio the same way it did against Creighton. USC versus Kansas. Kansas is the better team for sure. USC just has so much size. That offensive rebounding, like I said, I think they're 10th in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage. They get like 28% of their own misses. That's a very intriguing stat. But USC is they're up and down, man. I'm gonna go Kansas. USC just not consistent enough. I've seen USC look like a great team than I've seen them get like just manhandled by a Colorado team. So I'm not that high on USC, to be quite honest with you. So I'm gonna take Kansas with that one. VCU versus Iowa. VCU it was a nice upset against Oregon, but I think Iowa will manhandle them with their experience and their size and just, you know, the overall them being a better basketball team. Michigan versus LSU is a very interesting one without Michigan having Livers. Because I look at LSU and I think they can potentially be like an Ohio State type of team. And we saw the troubles that Ohio State gave Michigan. Even though they only won really closely, they had control of that game, you know, a lot in that second half, Ohio State. I wanted Mike Smith to hit that step back jumper. That would have been really, really monumental and big for my little homie. You know, Dickerson, Mike, they're going to do their thing. Wagner. But again, the same thing when I looked at St. Bonaventure. I mean, LSU, Trenton, Wofford, can't. Yeah, I got to go LSU with this one. Michigan, I love Michigan. I love my little homie Mike. I love Juwan Howard. I hope they can win it all. Shit, but filling out my bracket wise, I'm gonna rock with LSU with that one. I'm gonna rock with Javonte Smart, upperclassman guard. Cam Thomas being the sniper that he's been. Trenton Wofford being that Swiss Army knife who can give you 30 on any given night. I'm gonna go with LSU with that one. I'm gonna definitely go with LSU with that one. Florida State versus Colorado. I'm going Florida State. I just think Florida State is too gritty. That defensively, they're just taking the ball out of your hands. They're in your face. They're pressuring you like, you know, Leonard Hamilton teams usually do, and they're gonna make Colorado uncomfortable. And we're gonna see Colorado rattled, and they're not gonna handle that well, in my opinion. So I'm taking Florida State with that one. I have Michigan State beating BYU. I have Michigan State beating UCLA to play BYU, I should say, and then I have them beat BYU. But then they would eventually lose to Texas. Greg Brown, Coleman, Jericho Sims. They're big. They have a lot of different looks. They can do a lot of different things, and like I said, they're one of the most underrated teams, in my opinion, on this side of the bracket. And Alabama versus UConn, it could potentially come out to be a good one, but Alabama, I can't lie, Alabama grew on me. I didn't really respect them early enough in the season because I know they were losing Kyra Lewis, but they've been extremely good, and Nate Oates has been holding down and doing his thing over there. So I got to give it to Alabama. Unless James Bouknight is going for 43 or anything like that, I think Alabama can take that one for sure. Now, Alabama versus Texas, this might be one of the better games of the Sweet 16 if we were able to get this matchup, because I think both teams are super talented. You got Javon Cornelius coming off the bench for Alabama. You got John Petty, who's been there for years. They're a very good team. They're a very good team. Texas, you're talking about Greg Brown. Their guard play is very good. This is going to be very balanced. I'm going to give it to Texas. I like Texas' size. I like Texas' versatility. And I think I would give them the edge over Alabama. LSU versus Florida State, again, would be a very good matchup because Florida State is going to try to make them uncomfortable defensively. You're going to have a guy like Scotty Barnes who's doing his thing as a glue guy and defensive guy for Florida State, but then you also have LSU with Cam Thomas, who's been a freshman, who's lighting it up. So is LSU going to, over? And I just want to look at the statistics as they'll tell us in the game breakdown. Florida State only allowed 70 points, which isn't great, but it's better than what LSU does. And LSU scores 82 points when Florida State only scores 78.9, which is 79. They scored about 3 more points, but they're an 80-point scoring team. They hold teams to 70. LSU gives up around what FSU is going to score, so it's going to be tough, but I'm going to go with LSU. I'm going to go with LSU, man. Next, we have Kansas and Iowa. I'm not the biggest fan of Iowa. I'm not the biggest fan of the Kansas either, but I'm going to go Kansas. I'm going to go Kansas. I think Kansas got a little bit of everything that could trump Iowa, and then Iowa had a big loss to their front court. Their forward got hurt, and I think he won't be playing in the tournament for the rest of the way. And then, like I said, Gonzaga, I don't care how much you see Santa Barbara runs teams off the three-point line. Corey Kispert and Drew Timmy and Jalen Suggs and Ayaye. They're not. They won't be affected by it. And then we have them in the Elite Eight. So the Elite Eight, we have Gonzaga versus Kansas. I'm giving that to Gonzaga to go to the Final Four. LSU and Texas. This is going to be a very good matchup. We got the Big 12 versus the SEC. Boy. I didn't even realize that I literally have LSU this far in it. This is what happens when you're just creating a bracket on the go. And then that's a very losable game that they have against Michigan. So this is again why I would tell people I'm not putting my bracket out here for you to follow, just for you to see what I'm doing. Here's some of the information that I'm throwing out. You agree, cool. You don't, I don't blame you, because yeah, Michigan can easily beat LSU, and that would mess up my whole bracket. So just like Ohio State can take care of business in the first round against Oral Roberts, and that would mess up my bracket. You know what I mean? Baylor could just beat North Carolina and dominate them, and that would mess up my bracket. So don't ride with me. You know what I mean? Unless you're truly sold on what I'm saying. LSU versus Texas, though. Texas has a lot of size, man. They size may start affecting LSU, but I'm gonna ride with LSU. I really like the LSU team. I got LSU in the Final Four against Gonzaga. Over here, we're going to rock with Winthrop. I got Winthrop beating North Carolina. I'm big on the Winthrop. And then then everybody on Twitter is going crazy. Everybody's rooting for Oral Roberts so that we can have an Elite Eight, Winthrop versus Oral Roberts, but Moses Moody and Arkansas are not gonna have it. They're gonna knock them boys off. And then Oklahoma State versus Illinois. Cade Cunningham and Ayo DeMonsu, who's from Chicago, right over there at Morgan Park. The senior guard. Illinois is just too good. Illinois is too good. They have too much size. You know, Kofi's been killing it. He's just, we saw what Jericho Sims was able to do to Oklahoma State and that Texas game. I think, you know, Kofi can do the same thing to Oklahoma State. So I'm gonna rock with Illinois. And then West Virginia versus Houston. I'm rocking with West Virginia. Houston is they've been solid, but Houston is a team that I don't really fear either. They're one of those teams, they are a higher seeded team, but I don't really look at them like they're an upper echelon team that people should be afraid of. I think a West Virginia team and Coach Hugs, they can go in there and do their thing. Illinois, I got them over West Virginia. I think Arkansas would beat Winthrop, and then I would have Illinois meeting Gonzaga in the championship. Gonzaga, unfortunately, my Illinois people are going to win. They're going to probably win by like 8 or 9. I'll say what? Gonzaga averages damn near 90 points. Let me see. What does Gonzaga average? Gonzaga averages 92 points a game. Illinois averages 81. They give up 68. So, okay. They won't get 91 this game, but I'll give it like 80. 82. Illinois have like 73 or 71. I'll give them 73. They'll hit a layup at the end of the game or something. And there you have it. I got Gonzaga winning the national championship. In recent years, when I'm just making one by myself and I've got my feelings involved and I'm caring about different things, and I have teams that I'm rooting for secretly, I normally don't pick, you know, the team that is the favorite or whatever, but I just think Gonzaga they're just too good. They don't really have a flaw. They fit seamless. You know, they don't depend on one guy. We're talking about Drew Timmy, Kispert, Suggs, Ayaye, my guy that transferred from Florida, the point guard, Nimhard. I mean, they're just stacked. So I think Gonzaga is going to win it. I would be surprised if they didn't. They're the favorites for a reason. But that's my pick. That's my bracket. Again, I don't want to act like I'm the expert at all. So, you know, if you go off my word and it messes you up, or Roberts get beat in the first round or anything like that, don't come at me, because I can't make any guarantees. But I would say UC Santa Barbara versus Creighton, Ohio versus Virginia, and Winthrop versus, I forget who they play in the first round. I'm so sold on Winthrop. I don't even remember who they play in the first round. You should pick them and look at them. But as always, I'm your boy. I'm out. This is a longer episode. I hope y'all like it. If you're new, subscribe, leave a like. Let me know what y'all picks are and why. Don't just tell me I'm going from Illinois because I'm from Illinois. Give me reasons why you agree or disagree or why you pick differently. And as always, Pee Wee the Plug. I'm out.